Okay, so this video actually starts with a little bit of an apology because I actually filmed this like a month ago and then completely forgot about it and forgot to upload it. So here it is. This is actually in answer to a question that I got about doing this with 4 strands in the middle. I'm hoping that I understood you right. I will tag you in the video. Just let me know if this is what you meant or if it's not. But either way, here is a video on doing a starter knot, a double cow hitch or double lark's head starter knot with 4 strands in the middle instead of 2. So what you need for this is you'll need a buckle, some paracord, I'm using just a short bit for this demonstration, and a ruler for measuring. If you want to know about measurements for a full collar using this knot, I'll put all of that in the description box, but for this video I'm just going to focus on the knot itself. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to separate your buckle. I do have preferential halves normally, but I'm just going to use whichever one that I fancy today. Now normally I would have a D-ring kind of over the top and attach them both together, but for this video it's just all about the starter knot. So I'm going to take my ruler, and for a collar what I would normally do is measure it out so the end of this side of the buckle and the base of that buckle are the length that you want your collar. So Poirot normally gets a 13-inch collar, so that would be 13 inches. But today, just for this video, they're going to be a little bit closer. I'm using 2 colours here just to make it a little bit easier for you to see. And what I should have done here is sealed the ends. I haven't done that, but we'll just go with it. So I'm going to take my ends and pop them through the top of the buckle. Now normally what I would do is I would pull this right through and create the first knot using that, but it's going to be a little bit different. So what you're going to see me do is the middle of that loop there, I'm actually going to place it by the base of the other side of the buckle. And this is going to create 2 of the 4 strands in the middle. And from there we're pretty much doing what we would normally do for our double cow hitch knot if you've watched my other video. But you're going to see why I've done it. It's a bit tricky and there's a lot of measuring involved, so just be aware of that. So what I'm then going to do, once I've remeasured and made sure that it's the length I want, is I'm holding that down with my thumb and I'm going to start my double cow hitch knot. So I'm bringing both of my strands through the centre just to make it a little bit easier for myself, and popping my pink side out the way. I'm going to start with my left side, my green side. I'm going to go behind my buckle and from the bottom up. Now this is where you see I really should have sealed the ends of my cord, but you know, didn't think that one through. So you can see this little loop here. I'm going to take the ends of my green, I'm going to pop it through that loop and pull to tighten. Now you want to make sure, I've got my hands on the back here, and you want to make sure that that section of the cord doesn't move as you tighten it. But this is where I would also remeasure against your ruler, and you're going to be doing this at every stage. The reason for that is just that you don't want to get into braiding and realise that your collar has actually gotten too short. So just keep measuring and you'll be fine. Next I'm just going to repeat that exact same thing with my pink side, taking the end and going from the bottom through the top. And again you'll see a little loop there. I'm just going to take my strand and pop it back through my loop and pull it to tighten. It'll be no shock here that I'm about to tell you to remeasure, just to make sure that you've not pulled it too tight and shortened the length. Now next, once you've done that, you're going to basically repeat exactly what you did, but on this side of the buckle, but you're going to catch that middle loop. So you can already see where the 4 strands are coming from. So this bit is fiddly. I won't lie, it's very annoying. But you're just going to take those ends again, and from the top down, pop them through. Try not to drop it, as I really want to here, and pull them until the loop meets the bottom of your buckle. And again, measure it, just always measure to make sure it's the same length, otherwise it's really tricky to fix once you've started braiding. So what you're then going to do is you're going to take your centre strands, you're going to try and pop them through the middle as best as you can, And then I'm going to do what I did the last time. I'm going to start on my left side, so my pink strand, and I'm going to pop it up through the back of my buckle, through the top. But you can see what I've done is I've caught that centre loop in my strand, and I've created that little loop again, popping it behind through that wee loop and tightening it. And that now means I have 2 pink strands in the middle. So I'm just going to repeat that exactly the same with my green side. But before I do, again, remeasure, please. Make sure it's the same length. So I'm taking my green strand, popping it up through the back. You can already see that wee loop. I'm going to pop my green strand through the back and pull to tighten. Make sure everything's kind of the same length when you tighten it as well, just so it makes it a bit neater. And last time, remeasure, just make sure it's nice and neat. And from there you can start braiding. So this is how you get 4 strands into a double lark's head knot. So it looks the same on either side, and you don't have to have an extra knot on one side of your buckle. Now what I will say here, just a little warning, when you start to do your cobra braid, it is very tempting when you tighten it to tighten it as much as you possibly can. Now all that does is bunch your 4 strands together and makes it the same width, but it actually makes it thicker. So you really end up with a collar that's going to be shorter once you put it around your dog's neck because the braid has thickened. So do a slightly looser, flatter braid. Make sure your centre strands are nice and flat, and that way the braid itself will be wider, but the thickness will be the same. I'll also say, I normally go over measurements in my braiding videos. You will need more cord for this because it is wider, so your braid will be wider. I normally, for a cobra braid, take a foot of paracord for every inch of collar. So a 13-inch collar, I would have 13 feet of paracord. For this, I would actually take a 1.5 feet just to be safe. So, for example, make it easy, a 10-inch collar, 15 feet of cord. Just makes it easy. It accounts for the extra strands in the middle as well. And it's always better to have too much to take off at the end than to try and splice on extra cord because you've got too little. So as long as you keep those things in mind, you'll be absolutely fine. Oh, and a quick third bit, I did mention this in my other braiding video, but just in case you missed it, because I think someone did, you need to adjust the length of your collar. So if your dog's neck is 10 inches, you want to add 1.5 inches to 2 inches, so 11.5 to 12 inches for the collar, because the thickness of the braid will make it shorter once you've clipped it around your dog's neck. So always add 1.5 inches to 2 inches if you're doing this braid. If your dog's bigger, add more. Otherwise, there you have it, a double lark's head or double cow hitch knot for a cobra braid, or any braid I suppose, with 4 strands in the middle to make it slightly wider. This also works brilliantly if you're working with 25mm buckles, because then the braid's going to be the same width as your buckle and it will just look a lot nicer. So if you try this out, please take pictures and send them to me, put them in the comments. I always love to see your work. And also comment if you have a specific thing that you'd like to see me do. And otherwise, like, comment and subscribe.